All right, how you doing? Welcome to Pre-Algebra, where we're going to learn how to solve vertical angle equations. Okay, so things to remember. Vertical angles, they're across from each other and they're congruent. Another way of saying congruent is they're equal, right? So vertical angles are across from each other and they're equal. So that means that we can set them equal to each other. All right, so what kind of angles are these? Well, these are vertical angles. Vertical angles. That doesn't look very good, so let's move it down a little bit. Vertical angles. There we go. All right, so what do they add up to? Well, we know vertical angles don't add up to anything. They are equal. Okay? So vertical angles are equal. All right, so that means that if I have an equation, like a variable in one of my vertical angles, I can set it equal to the other side and then solve for it. So this 11y, right, 11y minus 36, I know equals 63. Equals 63. All right, so from here, I can solve this like any other equation that I would solve, right? So if I want to get y by itself, I would get rid of this minus 36. I would do a plus 36. And plus 36 to the other side. All right, so that cancels these out, and it leaves you with 11y. And then on my other side, 3 plus 6 is 9, 6 plus 3 is 9. I'm left with 99. All right, so now I want to get y by itself, right? I want to get y by itself, so I want to divide by 11 here to get y by itself, and divide by 11 here. 99 divided by 11 is 9, so y equals 9. So let's recap how we did this. All right, so I know that these two are vertical angles because they're across from each other. So I know that this angle and this angle are equal to each other. So since they are equal to each other, we can set them equal to each other in an equation. Okay? Try this one on your own. Pause the video and try it on your own. Unpause it when you're done. Check your work. Go ahead, pause the video, try this one on your own. Set this 3 plus, it should be 3x plus 1 equals 112. All right, hopefully you paused the video and tried this on your own, and hopefully you got x equals 37. So we know these two are equal to each other. 3x plus 1 equals 112. And then I did minus 1 from both sides to leave me with 3x equals 111. And then I divided by 3 to get rid of that and get x by itself. And 111 divided by 3 is 37. So x equals 37. So vertical angles we can set equal to each other and then solve like a normal equation. All right, let's do another one together. Let's do this bottom left one together. I see that I have vertical angles again. What type of angles are these? Well, these are vertical angles. How do we set up our equation? Well, they equal each other. Right? They equal each other. So if I was going to figure out what the x was, I can set this side equal to this side because they're vertical angles. They're across from each other. So if I was going to solve this, it would be 4x minus 6. That's my one side. 4x minus 6, and it's going to be equal to 2x plus 60. 2x plus 60. So if I'm solving this, I'm trying to get one of my variables by itself, right? So let's think, remember, don't call me after midnight. Don't call me after midnight. So first step, distribute. There's no distributes here. We're done. Next step, combine. I make my line on my equal sign. Can't combine anything here. I can't combine anything here. I'm done. My next step, move my variables. So I got variables on both sides, right? So I got to move one of my variables over. I usually take the one on the right and move it over to the left. It doesn't matter which one you move over, you get the same thing. So that's a positive 2x, so I do a minus 2x to both sides. 4x minus 2x gives me 2x. So I'm left with 2x minus 6. On this side, these 2x's cancel out, and I'm left with 60. Okay, so I'm done with moving my variables. Now my a is add or subtract, right? So I have a minus 6 here, so the way I can get rid of that is I can do plus 6. Plus 6 to get rid of that. Plus 6, 60 plus 6 is 66. That's an ugly looking 6 there. That looks somewhat better. And on this side, these canceled out and I'm left with 2x. All right, so my last step, I'm done with that one. My last step is multiply or divide. So since I have 2x, that means 2 times x. I'm going to divide by 2 to get rid of that 2, and I have to do the same thing to both sides. 2 divided by 2 cancel out. 66 divided by 2 gives me 33. So x equals 33. and we solved for x. All right, sometimes with these equations, x equals 33, they might say, what is the angle measure? Well, we know that x equals 33, but that's not the measure of this angle here, right? So if I wanted to figure out what the actual angle measure is, I can type in Desmos at 4x minus 6, right? Hit enter and say x equals 33, because that's what we just solved for. We solved for that. And that angle equals 126. So this whole angle right here is actually 126. And this one should be the same. So let's check that and see if it's the same. So that one, I'm going to delete this 4x minus 6, and I'm going to put 2x plus 60. And look at that, I got 126. It's the same, so I know I did it right, right? So remember, vertical angles you set equal to each other, and then you have to get rid of one of your variables and solve the equation, right? And then you can plug it back into the original expression they give you inside the angle and figure out what the angle measure is. Okay, go ahead, take a second, pause the video, try this one on your own. Unpause when you're done to check your work. Go ahead and pause the video, try this one on your own. Remember that this side is the same thing as this side. They're equal to each other. So it would be 57 minus x equals 5x plus 9, and then solve it. Go ahead and try. Unpause when you're done and check your work. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and hopefully you tried it on your own. Okay, so remember, this side, vertical angles are equal to each other. So 57 minus x equals 5x plus 9. Okay, so then from there I have to solve my equation, right? So I did minus 5x to move this over here. This is really negative 1x. Remember, they don't write the 1 when it's an x, right? So if it's just 1, they don't write it. So negative 1 minus 5 gives me negative 6x. Okay, so that leaves me with 57 minus 6x equals 9. I want to get this x by itself, so I want to get rid of that 57. That's a positive 57, so to get rid of it, I do a negative 57 or minus 57. And then 9 minus 57 is negative 48. And on this side, I'm left with negative 6x, so I divided it by negative 6. Negative 48 divided by negative 6 gives me 8. All right, and then remember, I can figure out what my angle measure is as well, right? So if I use Desmos, you can do it by hand as well if you want to plug it in, right? I can do 57 minus x, and then I can just do both equations, 5x plus 9, and then I'm going to say x equals 8. And they both should be the same. They are, they're both 49, right? So my angle measure for this one is 49 degrees, and my angle measure for this one is 49 degrees. Because vertical angles are equal, they're congruent, they should be the same, and that's an easy way to check your work. Okay? All right, if you have any questions, please ask a teacher. We're going to practice more of this in class, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye!